For women aged 60 to 70, age should never limit your style. 1. Style is not a privilege of youth. It's the voice of a woman's identity. For decades, women were told, "Now that you're older, dress simpler, don't stand out." But that idea is outdated. Style has no age. It's your personal language, your emotional tone, and your story, told through color, fabric, and flair. At 60 plus, you have the right to wear a bold red dress, rock silver jewelry, or style your hair exactly the way you love. Because that's you, fully alive. 2. The older you are, the sharper your style becomes. Now you know what flatters you. You no longer chase trends. You create your own look. Love emerald green? Wear it. Crave a dramatic coat? Walk like you're in Paris. Enjoy accessories, crafts, or handmade details? You're your own artist. Your style is your declaration. I don't dress to please others. I dress to express my soul. 3. Beauty is not about youth. It's about inner radiance. A 65-year-old woman can be radiant and stunning, not because she's young, but because she's alive, confident, and authentic. Your smile lines tell your story. Your hands reflect care and strength. Your gaze shows kindness and wisdom. And your style? It shows that you're still very much here, thriving. 4. Reinvention is not rejection, it's self-love. Trying a new look doesn't erase your past. It celebrates your present. I'm not less beautiful now. I'm just beautiful in a different way. Softer, bolder, and wiser. Step out of your comfort zone. Try that lipstick shade. Buy the scarf you love, because you deserve to feel beautiful today. 5. You're a role model, without even trying. When a woman in her 70s walks confidently with personal style, she tells the world, aging doesn't erase elegance, women don't have to fade into the background, and style is a form of freedom. You might inspire daughters, granddaughters, friends, or strangers, simply by being unapologetically you. Final words. Style is the gift you give yourself. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? What message do I want to send the world through what I wear? Am I brave enough to wear what I love? You don't need anyone's permission, because you, and only you, define what beauty means to you. Style doesn't ask for your age. It asks for your honesty, and your courage to be seen, living beautifully in your own way. Style is freedom. Reaching your 60s doesn't mean stepping away from fashion. It doesn't mean you have to dress your age or tone down your personality. Here's a beautiful truth every woman should know. Style has no age, and your aesthetic isn't limited by time. You don't need to follow every trend. You don't dress to be told you look younger. At this stage in life, you have every right to choose how you dress. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. You dress to feel like you, to live fully, to shine in your own way, without needing permission. True style isn't about expensive clothes or fashion approval. It's about the freedom and emotion expressed in what you wear. It's that blouse that makes you feel at ease, that color that lifts your spirit, that small accessory that brings back beautiful memories. Every time you wear something you love, you're saying, I love who I am. And that's the most beautiful fashion statement of all. Turning 60 is not the time to hide. It's the time when you know exactly what you love, what feels right, and what gives you joy. Your body may have changed, your skin may have softened, but your confidence and your joy for life have never been more radiant. And you know what? Style doesn't require extravagance. Sometimes, a crisp white shirt, a favorite fragrance, and a pair of well-loved shoes are all you need to feel like a queen in your own story. Because when you live authentically, you naturally glow. Always remember, your aesthetic knows no age. Style is not about clinging to youth. It's about expressing your truth. Bold, inspired, and freer than ever before. Part 3. Confidence. The most timeless accessory. Maybe you once owned glamorous heels, designer bags, or dazzling jewelry. But do you know what makes you truly beautiful? Confidence. The way you carry yourself. The gentle smile that says, "I'm at peace." The way you walk into a room like you belong there. Because you do. At 60, you're no longer held back by other people's judgments. You've lived long enough to know. Confidence isn't tied to youth. It's rooted in self-acceptance. When we were younger, we tried so hard to be accepted. We learned to please, to shrink ourselves, to fit in. But now, at this stage in life, you realize you don't need anyone's permission to shine. You wear red if it makes you feel powerful. You let your hair go silver because it's part of your truth. You walk barefaced into the world because beauty isn't about covering up. It's about showing up. Every wrinkle is a victory. Every scar tells a story. Every line is a trace of laughter. Confidence doesn't come from looking young. It comes from being real, and that makes you more captivating than ever. A woman in her 60s doesn't need to try to be youthful. She just needs to be herself, and that's already radiant. So stand tall, smile, wear what makes your heart happy. Enter a room knowing you've weathered storms, you've lived, and you have nothing left to prove. Because when you live with true confidence, you don't just inspire yourself. You become a beacon for others. Confidence is a jewel that never goes out of style. It doesn't fade with age. It shines from within. And once you turn it on, the world will see you differently. With admiration, with respect, and with awe. Part 4. Start living your own way, when life is no longer a copy. Something beautiful happens when you enter your 60s. You start to feel, deeply and clearly, that every remaining moment is a gift. Not because time is running out, but because you've lived enough to understand. Authenticity is the only way to truly live. When we were younger, we lived by expectations. How to be a wife, how to be a mother, how to be the good daughter, the perfect employee, the selfless friend. There were so many unspoken rules we tried to follow. And somewhere along the way, we forgot someone important. Ourselves. At this stage of life, you no longer need to perform. You've done enough proving, enough giving, enough preserving a version of yourself to keep others comfortable. Now you get to, and you deserve to, live life on your own terms. You can wake up slowly and savor the sunrise. You can sign up for a dance class, even if you've never danced. You can travel solo, write poetry, learn meditation, or finally revisit that dream you shelved years ago. No one has the right to tell you it's too late, because living your own way isn't rebellion. It's returning. Returning to the voice inside you that was once drowned out by the noise of expectations. Someone once asked, "At your age, what's the point of changing now?" But the real question is, if not now, then when will you get to truly live? Sometimes, becoming your true self will confuse others. They're used to seeing you give everything, and now you're finally choosing yourself. They're used to you being quiet, and now you're saying no. They're used to you dimming your light, and now you're starting to glow. Let them be surprised. Let them adjust. Because you don't need their approval, you just need your own. You deserve a life that's honest, not borrowed, not forced, not a repeat of anyone else's path. You are a one-of-a-kind original. You don't need to look like anyone else. Being you is already beautiful. Part 5. Turning each day into a gift. The art of slow, deep, and authentic living. Have you ever sat quietly, watching sunlight flicker through the leaves, and whispered to yourself, "I wish I had slowed down much earlier"? For decades, we moved at lightning speed, chasing responsibilities, raising children, meeting deadlines, fulfilling others' dreams. Now, at 60, as the dust begins to settle, we start to see clearly. True joy is simple, but it takes a still heart to notice it. You don't need a lavish vacation or a perfect life to feel the richness of living. Sometimes it's a quiet morning without an alarm, a cup of tea in warm morning light, a slow walk under trees, a deep look at your own face, not to judge, but to understand. This is the art of slowing down. Slowing down isn't laziness. It's an intentional and courageous choice to step away from the race and tune into your own rhythm. It's asking, what do I really need? Instead of, what do others expect from me? To live slowly is to make time your companion, not your master. It's to savor the now, not just rush toward what's next. To live deeply is to go beyond existing. It's to feel the taste of your fruit, to hear your loved one's voice like a melody, to notice each breath, in and out, as something sacred. You stop needing things outside you to fill the gaps, because you've learned to listen within, and discovered peace was never gone. You were just too busy to notice it. To live authentically is to no longer hide behind masks. You allow yourself to be soft. You allow tears at a beautiful movie. You say, I don't know, without shame. You stop striving for perfect, and start embracing real. And that realness? That's the most beautiful thing you've ever worn. At 60, the world no longer pushes you. You walk at your pace. You collect life like precious gems. An afternoon with an old friend. A book you finally finish. A song that takes you back to your youth. You realize, time doesn't take away what matters. It reveals it. Now, each day is no longer just another day. It becomes a gift, touched fully with presence, gratitude, and open-hearted joy. Each day is a gift, and when you live slowly, deeply, and honestly, you realize that gift was always in your hands. Part 6. The Healing Journey, when the heart is finally heard. The story begins on a crisp autumn afternoon. Helen, 68, lived alone in a small house on the edge of a Vermont town. That house once echoed with the laughter of her husband and children. But time moved on. Her husband passed away too early, and the children grew up, moved out, built lives of their own. Now it was just Helen, and the silence. One afternoon, while watching golden leaves fall outside her window, she whispered to herself, I spent my whole life taking care of everyone else, but did I ever take care of me? That simple question cracked something open in her heart, and that was the moment her healing journey began. Healing isn't about erasing pain, it's about learning to be gentle with yourself. Helen took small steps. She forgave herself for old mistakes. She began to see aging not as a decline, but as a new chapter, deeper, slower, more meaningful. She started journaling. Every morning she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for: a ray of sunshine, the scent of cinnamon rolls, the birds outside her porch. She tried meditation, slow breathing, but most importantly, she listened to her heart. We all carry wounds, but they don't make us weak. They make us real. No one lives a perfect life. We love, we lose, we grieve, we regret. But healing doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It means learning to hold it with tenderness. At 60, you don't need to erase the past. You only need to embrace it, softly, just like Helen did. She no longer tried to be strong. She started to be real. And that was the moment she felt truly free. If you've ever felt lonely, if you've ever wondered, what am I living for now? Know this, you still have you, and you are worthy of healing, of love, of beginning again, even now. Part 7. True beauty begins the moment you dare to be yourself. The aesthetics of authenticity. You've probably heard it many times. A woman is most beautiful when she's happy. But have you ever asked yourself, where does that happiness really come from? It doesn't come from designer clothes, perfect makeup, or society's beauty standards. Happiness and beauty begin the moment you dare to live truthfully. In our younger years, many of us tried so hard to be beautiful by someone else's standards. Be slim, dress trendy, smile sweetly, act gracefully, always be appropriate. But as we age, we realize, beauty is no longer what others see. It's what we feel inside. You are beautiful when you stop trying to be someone else and confidently become yourself. When you embrace your silver hair instead of hiding it. When you wear that bold dress, not because it's in style, but because it's you. When you look in the mirror and smile, not because you're perfect, but because you're grateful for who you are. The beauty of a 60-year-old woman isn't in makeup or curves. It's in her presence, her calm, and the glow in eyes that have seen so much, and still sparkle. You've lived, loved, lost, rebuilt, and you're still here, still rising. That resilience is stunning. Living true to yourself is the most timeless form of beauty. It's quiet. It's deep. It doesn't need validation. It simply is. You don't wait for permission to be yourself. You simply are. And that's more than enough. One afternoon in the park, you see a silver-haired woman in a deep red coat, smiling softly. She's not flashy. She's not trying. And yet, she's radiant. Because her beauty comes from freedom. Because she's being herself. And in that moment you realize, you can be that woman too. There's no age limit to beauty. As long as you live truthfully, love deeply, and walk boldly in your own skin, you will always shine. Part 8. Every age can be the most beautiful time of your life. There's one thing time can never take away from you: the power to begin again. Maybe you've gone through heartbreak, loss, loneliness, unexpected turns, but you're still here. You're still breathing. There's still a tomorrow. And that means you still have the right to choose happiness. Turning 60 is not a finish line. It's the beginning of a new journey, one that's deeper, more meaningful. You don't need to look young again. You just need to live more truthfully. No more pleasing others. No more chasing after social expectations. No more fearing being too old, outdated, or left behind. Because now, you know, age is just a number. It's your heart that decides how young you are. You can start painting, dancing, writing your story, planting flowers, traveling solo, or simply speaking your truth, the one you've hidden for decades. You can wear bold colors, try a new haircut, take beautiful portraits, not to impress, but to remember you once felt fully alive. You can forgive. You can cry. You can laugh out loud. You can love again. Someone else, or simply yourself. Why not? 60 is not the end. It's when you finally have the freedom to live your own dream. Late, yes, but right on time. And if you're reading this, know this deeply. You are not alone. Millions of women your age are taking brave steps every single day. And you, yes, you, are an inspiration too. So don't think of this as an ending. It's a brand new beginning, where you write the most radiant, authentic, and powerful chapter of your life. Because age cannot limit your heart. It cannot limit your style. It cannot limit your hunger to live boldly, beautifully, and fully.